All right, we are going to be streaming. Want you guys to keep this in mind. 9 p.m. This is my local time, so Central Time. Friday. That's the 7th of August. We will be streaming the Avengers beta for the new game on the PlayStation 4. I'll be streaming. So you guys tune into that. So if you have any questions about the games, how it feels, anything, I'll be answering those questions. They are allowing us to stream that beta, and I will be streaming that for you. So please come tune in. I would greatly appreciate you guys. As I mentioned before, I will do all of my comic book based stuff. Like I will stream that stuff on YouTube, not Twitch. So y'all tune in. Today, though, we are talking about some comic book stuff, and it's really a stupid ass I don't even want to call this a conversation. Let's just call this what it is, a stupid ass statement by way of someone by the name of Rebecca. She is a contributing writer at Nat Geo. So, yeah, kind of weird. Nonetheless, this person right here said this stupid stuff. Batman could have fixed all the crime in Gotham City just by using his wealth to create a universal basic income. God damn, this is stupid. But he just had to go around beating up people instead. That's billionaire logic for you. Now, look, I know we're talking about a comic book character, but if you know this comic book character and you understand fundamental economics, you know why this is a dumb ass statement. It's stupid. First of all, let's assume that there are roughly 10 million or so people, right, in Gotham, right? I don't know how exactly many. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty sure they've mentioned this time a couple of times, and I just don't remember. It's not anything I generally pick up. I don't feel like Googling it. But let's assume there's 10 million or so people. Let's assume Batman's worth between 10 billion to 30 billion. I don't know exactly, but let's assume that was the case. A lot of money, right? Let's assume that he was worth that much. He would have to liquefy his assets, number one. I know people think net worth is the equivalent to being Scrooge McDuck and having all of that money, whatever your net worth is. We talked about this on a video before, right? Whatever your net worth is, you just have it in a safe like Scrooge, or you could just jump in and swim in all the monies. That's what net worth is. No, it's not, you idiot. So he would basically have to cash all of that out. He would have to liquefy all of his net worth, which is going to come with a lot of different issues. But he'd no longer be a billionaire, obviously, by then, if he did all of that. But he would only have enough money to give a one-time payment of, depending on how much he was worth, barely, maybe, not even $1,000. That's it. So apparently just giving everybody $1,000 one time, meaning that he's now broke, would rid all the crime in the throughout Gotham, which doesn't even make sense. First, that assumes that everybody does crime because they don't have money. Now, are there cases where that's the case? Of course. Even throughout Batman, people do bad things because they want money. Some people just do bad things because they're bad people and they have money. But why this is so dumb is because she says give them a universal basic income. So meaning that per month, whatever, he be giving people all of this money. Not understanding the simple fact that this is why these people have no business talking economics. But unfortunately, there are people that actually have economics degrees that come out economically illiterate because they teach a hack form of economics generally in academia. Nonetheless, if it were that easy, and this is why when you talk about McDonald's, for example, or Walmart or something, it's so stupid when you consider the amount of employees they have. If you abolish like a certain person's entire worth, and you then gave that money to the entire, let's say, staff of Walmart, they wouldn't be able to do much with the money that you gave them if you dispersed it like equally. Here is a similar thing. But also what you have to take into consideration, if you did liquefy all those assets, well, that business doesn't exist. So all of those people that are employed, let's say by Wayne Enterprises, whether, it's going through its moments where it's been crooked as hell, but let's assume that it wasn't crooked, wouldn't exist. So people on down, I'm going to talk from the corporate level on down to the streets. No matter what it is that they do, if they work for Wayne in some capacity, their job no longer is a thing. But of course, they don't consider that because they're economically illiterate. And because of the way government kind of works now, which it can print all of this money out of thin air and whatnot, it allows people to say stupid stuff like this. So just give everybody money, then the crime wouldn't exist. Like, it's dumb for so many amounts of different reasons. Again, going back to the fact that assumes that every person that commits the crimes, that does the things in Gotham, does it for, because they don't have money, which we know is simply not true. Some people are just deranged and they want to see the world burn. There's rich people that also do crimes in Gotham. It's amazing how not only does definitely with social media, it puts a lot of these people out here that write for these publications and they come to these preposterous, nonsensical conclusions. It's always hilarious to me when it comes to comic book material because, these people get in and they try to make the comic book stuff about them, right? It's always about them. It's like, oh, look at me. I want my opinions to be perpetuated in this comic book about this comic book character. And if they just listened to me and did what I did, which is what a lot of the current writers do, they'd be better. No matter if it makes sense. Now, again, I know we're talking about comic books right now. We're talking about something that isn't real, right? But if you did apply it to the real world and she's using this to kind of crap on billionaires, it wouldn't make sense. Billionaires don't have as much money as some of you guys think. But more importantly, a lot of billionaires, when you look at their net worth, when you see their worth, they're not worth. It's like it would require them to liquefy their assets. And if they did that, that would come with another different amount of problems. Okay. So my thing is, I get it. And even when we talk about billionaires, man, like a lot of billionaires, are in positions that they're in. Not all of them, but a lot of them are in positions they're in because of they've been able to utilize the state to put them in those situations. That's why it's so rotten. This is why it's also so stupid when people point to oh, well, we couldn't live in a libertarian society because all these rich people will just do all these bad things. It's like, that's interesting. Or benefit only the rich people. That's interesting. Why aren't they all libertarians? Bill Gates certainly is the one, using him as an example. The board members, a lot of times they're leftists. So what the hell are you talking about? It doesn't even make sense. But it doesn't have to. They have narratives that they want to put out there. And so if they can say something that doesn't make a lick of sense, if Batman just gave everybody a universal basic income, which would be impossible for him to do, by the way, you could just rid the world of the crime. Just lets you know how stupid people are as it pertains to crime, because I can agree that there are senses where more poverty does equal more of that, but it's a lot more depth to it. And it's a lot more depth to the criminals of Gotham. This is why people that don't read books, these normies, should shut the hell up.